I'm Grace, and the day my sister gave me that DNA test, my perfect family started to fall apart. The moment my sister handed me that DNA test with a smile that didn't reach her eyes, I felt something inside our family finally crack. It was my birthday dinner, and everyone was there: my parents, my older sister Eliza, a few close relatives. The air smelled like roasted chicken and expensive wine, but beneath it all, I sensed something sour. Eliza stood up after dessert, holding a neatly wrapped box. She announced loudly, "Since you've always felt a little different, maybe this will explain why." People chuckled nervously. I forced a smile and opened it. A DNA test kit. She laughed again and added, "Maybe this will explain why you're another man's mistake." The room went silent. My mother stared at her plate. My father cleared his throat but said nothing. That silence hurt more than the words. I had grown up feeling slightly out of place: different hair color, different temperament, different interests, but I always dismissed it as imagination. Yet in that moment, their faces looked almost guilty. I took the box home. I told myself it was just a cruel joke fueled by sibling rivalry. But as I sat on my bed that night, staring at the test kit, memories surfaced. Whispered arguments behind closed doors. The way my grandmother once stopped mid-sentence when I walked into the room. The way relatives sometimes looked at me with curiosity instead of familiarity. I ordered the test the next morning. Not because I believed Eliza, but because I needed to prove her wrong. Still, deep down, I feared what I might uncover. Waiting for the results felt like living with a ticking clock inside my chest. Every family dinner became unbearable. Eliza kept making subtle comments, asking if I'd found my real roots yet. My father grew unusually distant. My mother tried too hard to be affectionate, hugging me longer than usual, as if she were apologizing without words. Then one afternoon, an unfamiliar number called me. It was our family's estate lawyer, Mr. Whitmore. His voice was formal but strained. "I'd like you to come by my office. Alone." When I asked why, he paused before saying, "It concerns you." Concerns me? My family rarely involved me in financial matters. Eliza had always been positioned as the heir to everything: our estate, the properties, the investments. I built my own career without expecting anything from them. So why would the estate lawyer want to see me privately? That same evening, I overheard my parents arguing in the study. My father's voice was sharp. "We should have told her years ago." My mother sounded panicked. "We can't. Not now. It would destroy everything." Destroy what? Our image? Our inheritance plan? Or the truth itself? 2 days later, my DNA results arrived. My hands trembled as I opened the email. The percentages loaded slowly, line by line. At first glance, something didn't make sense. I compared my results with the basic ancestry information my parents always claimed. The numbers didn't match. Not even close. Before I could process it fully, my phone buzzed again. A message from Mr. Whitmore: "There has been a change in the will. Your presence is urgently required." A change in the will. For the first time in my life, I realized the DNA test wasn't meant to humiliate me. It was meant to warn me. When I walked into Mr. Whitmore's office, I felt like I was stepping into a courtroom where I didn't know the crime. His assistant closed the door behind me, and the room suddenly felt too quiet. He didn't waste time on pleasantries. He folded his hands and looked at me carefully, as if measuring how much I could handle. "Your grandfather amended his will 6 months before he passed," he said. That caught me off guard. I was close to my grandfather, but I was never treated as the future of the family. That role belonged to Eliza. Amended it how? I asked. He slid a document across the desk. My name was printed clearly: primary beneficiary of the estate. Not partial. Not shared. Primary. I thought it was a mistake. It had to be. There must be some confusion, I whispered. There isn't, he replied. Your grandfather included a clause that would activate under specific biological confirmation. My heart stopped. Biological confirmation. The DNA test, I said slowly. He nodded. Your grandfather requested proof before the amendment would be executed. Suddenly, pieces began aligning in a way that made my stomach twist. The whispered arguments. The tension. Eliza's cruel birthday gift. They weren't mocking me. They were afraid. Afraid of what? I asked. Mr. Whitmore hesitated, then opened another file. Inside was an old birth record, mine. But the father's name listed wasn't the man who raised me. My breath caught. What does this mean? It means, he said carefully, that your biological father was not who you believed. And your grandfather knew. The room felt like it was spinning. If the man I called Dad wasn't my biological father, then why had everyone pretended? And why would that make me the primary heir? Mr. Whitmore leaned forward. There is more. But your family insisted on being present when the full disclosure is made. Of course they did. Because whatever the truth was, it didn't just change my identity. It changed everything. The meeting was scheduled for Friday evening. My parents and Eliza arrived at the lawyer's office looking nothing like the competent family I had grown up with. My father avoided my eyes. My mother's hands trembled. Eliza's face was pale, truly pale this time. Mr. Whitmore placed the amended will on the table and began reading. My grandfather had written a personal statement attached to it. His words were steady, deliberate. He explained that decades ago, before my mother married my father, she had been involved with another man, his business partner. A man who had saved the family fortune during a financial collapse. A man who had later died unexpectedly. I was his daughter. Not a mistake. Not an accident. A rightful heir. My grandfather had discovered the truth years after my birth through private records. He kept it secret to protect the family's reputation, but he never forgot the debt owed to my biological father. The estate, he wrote, rightfully belonged to his bloodline, and that bloodline was me. Silence swallowed the room after the reading ended. My father finally spoke, his voice strained. I raised you as my own. I know, I said softly. And I did. He may not have shared my DNA, but he had shared my childhood. Eliza looked at me like I had stolen something from her. You knew? She demanded. I shook my head. No. But you suspected. Her lips pressed into a thin line. The birthday gift hadn't been a joke. It had been a desperate attempt to expose me before the legal clause could be activated. If I had refused the test, the amendment might have remained dormant. Mr. Whitmore closed the file. Effective immediately, the estate transfers to you. The weight of it settled over me, not just the wealth, but the truth. I wasn't another man's mistake. I was the hidden legacy they tried to bury. And now, for the first time, they were the ones left without answers.